Welcome back to the Fly project, and if you didn't see the last video I uploaded this week, basically I've just gone over the fact that having the engine at the correct running temperature does make a difference to it, obviously. So I've done the thermostat here and topped it up, but you probably know about this. I've been mulling about it all week. I lost a socket and I had to use one out of the other box. So yep, I lost my 8mm socket and I was really upset about that. I even went to see if I could get a replacement for it. Yeah, always bad when you have an incomplete set of sockets. But today, doing some jobs, look what I found underneath the windshield wiper. Now look at this. This is last week, and what I was doing, I was looking down into the gully here, okay, on the scuttle pan or the firewall. I thought the socket had dropped down there somewhere. Yeah, maybe it did and found its way out somewhere. However, a quick rewind and you'll see there's no socket, so it's appeared from somewhere. We can have a Twilight Zone moment there. Whichever way, I think it's a kindly neighbour that's found it and put it on the car for me because they know it's mine. So that's where it was. That's a bit of a doo-dee-doo-doo Twilight Zone moment. Anyway, let's get on to the job that I was doing today. Remove the spark plugs to check them, and I thought what I'll do while I'm here is to do a compression test. Now, I have a cheap eBay compression tester, and it's not bad quality, or it feels good quality. Instead of looking for specific pressure, what I'm looking for is evenness right across the cylinders, all 4 cylinders. So what we're looking at here is 125 psi, or around about there, okay, which is good. This one has a lock on it and you can release the pressure afterwards, which means you can do it by yourself. However, I got one of the adapters stuck down the spark plug hole. Annoying as hell because it took a little while to get out. It was loose, and what I used was a piece out of the kit, which is a rubber adapter, and just screwed it out and it came out. Luckily, otherwise that would have been a little bit of a nightmare because there's nothing to grip onto. So, our rule of thumb now is to do these damn things up really tight and not split the O-ring, okay? It does help to have a little bit of grease on these O-rings, gives it a better seal, and you can see that getting it into a spark plug hole, of course, all engines nowadays have deep reach spark plugs, don't they? Yeah? Or prove me wrong. So what's the idea behind a compression test? Well, this is giving you a rough idea of how the conditions of the cylinders are, okay, or where the explosion takes place in the engine. So I'm looking here for basically how the gauge builds up, how much pressure is there, and whether it is even right the way across these 4 cylinders, which it turns out to be. It's about 125 psi. Now, if there's an imbalance or a difference between 2 cylinders of about 20%, which is for 100 psi would be 20 psi, for instance, then there is issues or there is a leak somewhere. It could be a cracked, burnt valve seats that are burnt and cracked, letting compression out, or worn piston rings, or possibly even a head gasket. Indication is if 2 of the cylinders together are worn, then that will mean that there is a head gasket leak, whereas if there's one, then there's an issue within that cylinder and the engine has to be stripped. Now, you can't actually see this, but I'm giving it a couple of chuffs over or turnover with the starter motor, and it's built up straight away and it's gone to 120 psi for each and every cylinder. So that's not bad. It's not in bad condition. The bottom end there is okay, but doesn't mean to say that the crankshaft is that good, okay? This is a 100,000 mile engine, and it has been abused at some point in its life and just left to run on really bad oil. And of course, if you remember at the start of this series, there was also a leak of coolant into the oil as well, which doesn't help. Okay, so I'll try and get this gauge somewhere, and you'll see the build up here, and you'll see how quickly that actually goes up, okay? Now, I did 2 compression tests, so I've done all 4 cylinders twice. The engine should be warm. Now look at that, that went straight up, which indicates that it's actually good compression on there. If you have a lazy gauge, as it were, you can always put some oil down the bore to see if it makes a difference with the pressure. Now if it does, that means that the bore is worn. If not, that means you've got leaking valves, okay? So there we go, 125 psi on each one of those. Not bad. This is what the spark plugs looked like when I first got the vehicle, running rich all the time. Now that could have been from many causes and I don't really know, but I've been trying to find out. And it could have just been doing short journeys, which means it's fouled the plugs up. Okay, there's no oil on there, that's all carbon. And as it says in the Haynes manual, that this state, browny deposits and black carbon deposits mean it's running rich. However, now it's not, is it? Greyish brown deposits here, it's running okay, or I think it's running okay. You could tell me that I'm actually wrong and that could be running a little bit lean, but I think that's okay. That's a big difference between what I've experienced before. Now, I have changed the fuel as well. I'm using 99 octane instead of 95, and she does run better. But it's time to do an oil change. Petrols, if you don't know, if you're a diesel person, petrol oil, okay, it needs to be changed when it's darkish brown and not black. Black is already really heaven for diesel owners, but it's a nightmare for petrol engines, okay. So that's about the colour it needs to be changed at. So we'll do that this week actually. I need to change the grade as well. Just a little thing, if you didn't know, dipsticks have an O-ring on them, and if you have a positive contact, then you're okay. If not, change it, because what happens, you can get fluids or water in there. Okay, so anyway, I don't need to teach old dogs how to suck eggs, or how to teach grandma how to suck eggs. Basically, when it comes to not having a torque wrench, and I always advise beginners to use torque wrenches so they get the feel of things, but you get a feel of the torque of things that need to be tightened up after a while, and after you've done repetitive socket wrenching. I'm not talking about air wrenching, but socket wrenching, you will feel where the torque is. If you don't quite understand what I mean because you're quite new to motor vehicles, basically you should never over tighten something and you should never leave it loose. There is a certain feel you can get, but if you don't know, you use a torque wrench. So we had an excellent summer, and now we are on to a really wet autumn and a wet winter. As you've probably noticed in some of the videos, it's rained every single weekend, which means I've been stuck for things to do. Okay, so I've had to do jobs in the workshop, at work, or basically bits and pieces on the inside. You can see I've cleaned all the crap out the centre here, and to be honest with you, the smoker that used to live in this car before made a real mess of it. If you're lucky enough to live in part of the country where it snowed and it's stuck, we don't get that luxury, as you can see here. It's wet, and it's been wet, and it's been raining, and this is about the only snow we've had, and possibly the only snow we're going to get this year. But it's nice to see it at least. But it's wet everywhere, and this is causing problems in certain areas, and that includes where I live, or very close to where I turn onto the main road, which is the A47 Norwich to Kings Lynn. I have to drive that every day. So this is 5 o'clock in the morning. It's flooded, and the whole of the A47 was. So what I'll do now, I've just gone up the road, and I'll show you where this flooding is, because it's quite regular. Okay, this is a black spot as well. You can see where that truck's just come from. There was an accident there on Tuesday actually, and blocked the road up from Swaffham to Dereham. Not good at all. It's because people are very impulsive. So country roads get flooded quite often, and I'm driving down here and the water is retained. It's actually draining off the land, so taking back roads instead of taking the A47, because that does get flooded in places, and aquaplaning is something I don't like in a light car. But yeah, basically there is drainage all the way around this area. Now I'm just going to go along this road, and then I'm going to do a U-turn so you get the lay of the land, and then I'm going to show you this area on the map, because this is quite interesting. It's something that I found. Okay, now the whole of the field to the left over there gets wet, but there are drainage ditches and it's blocked in a certain area, so doesn't help at all for the water that gets on the road. Now I'm becoming more conscious about this by driving a light vehicle, so I thought what I'll do is go onto the UK government website and have a look for flood warnings and things like that. This is quite interesting, and I want to show you the map that they've got, because it is actually quite accurate, and I've just got to find it. It's there where the purple line is. Hang on, I'll just bring it up. check the long-term flood risk for an area in England. Okay, so yeah, basically you can look at a map. Okay, and yeah, you put your postcode in and it will actually show you. Okay, now it shows you river surface water flooding as well as reservoir potential flooding. Okay, and from the rivers and the sea. Now there is a big difference because I checked both of these out. Okay, but it does say it doesn't include the risk sources from blocked drains and burst pipes. Well, yeah, blocked drains is when the municipality cannot afford to keep the drains clear. Yeah, and in some areas it's really important. So here is the flood risk in the UK. This is England. Okay, and basically you can see down there in the fens, okay, that's Kings Lynn, Wisbech, Ely, that sort of area to Peterborough. This is flooding by sea. Okay, so if the sea level rises, it's not going to be too good. But I don't want to see that at the moment. I want to look at surface water, which is to do with the amount of water that comes off when it's raining. Okay, so I just got to find that on here. This is actually a really good map because it gives detailed information. It's fairly accurate as well, so you can see in the same area, okay, it's a different story altogether. All right, that's around Kings Lynn. So I live in Dereham near Norwich, so just at the zip there, and you can see straight away that it's to do with the rivers and how the water or the flood water drains off the land. It takes a while to do. Okay, so any heavy rains, persistent rains, it will build up and end up flooding. So I'm going to find the road that I showed you on this map. Okay, just give me a second. There's the A47, so that'll be this area here. Okay, just there. All right, that's where I did the U-turn. So that is the area which it floods. So you get an idea from what I've shown you to what sort of water will be laying on the surface. Okay, so yeah, this green one is the A47. Okay, now I'm coming up again to this road, and you can see here that this whole area here is potential for a flood. Okay, so this does make a difference for journey planning. It definitely makes a difference for journey planning. Now I've plotted all this out, and I even looked at my workplace, and it is showing exactly where it does flood, and surprising how accurate it is. Drains down here are absolutely gushing at the moment, although it didn't rain last night, luckily. But yeah, basically the whole of the A47, I was aquaplaning in certain areas when it was dark at 5 and 6 o'clock in the morning, which to me was a bit of a surprise. I tried to find an alternative route, but it won't happen because even the country roads, when the surface water is quite high, actually some of the areas it turns into ford. So my little aquaplaning fly isn't going to like this. I'm going to have to do something about it. Yes, I could get a 4x4, but no, that is very prohibitive for the amount of miles I do. Remember, I said I'm doing 400 miles a week. Yeah. So anyway, it's just a bit of information that might help you out because as you know, this is a survivalist type of thing. It's okay when the drains are maintained. If they're not maintained, the flooding area will be a lot larger. It's either threat from surface water, from rain, or from the sea. Okay, yeah, so you can see that, yeah. It doesn't look too bad in the centre of Norfolk, and this is now seawater. Yeah, but in Kings Lynn, not too good. But the town itself isn't too bad. It's on the other side of Kings Lynn. Even down to Lincolnshire, it's not good. It's not a good picture. So yeah, dark blue is where it will flood, and light blue is the minimum amount of flooding. So the missus will get flooded out, my mum will get flooded out, my workplace will get flooded out, but I won't. Yeah. So I'm not wishing for the sea to grow, but yeah, that's just one of those things. Just one of those things. A little bit of information for you that might be helpful. It might be helpful, but you can see all the blue veins here on the fens. The fens don't really flood, do they? Because they're drained really well, and you can see they're all man-made cuts. Yeah, but if the sea level was to rise, it would flood all of that area really quickly. Whereas where the rivers are, the natural rivers are, that makes a hell of a difference. Yeah, so we're looking at Lincolnshire here. Yeah, okay. All man-made cuts. All done by the Dutch when they came over. Yeah, and maintained. If they're not maintained, it will go back to nature. Whereas if you see here on the river, the flooding is, that actually will give you flooding in certain areas, which isn't too bad, to be honest with you. Some of the urban areas are a lot worse than agricultural areas, as you can see this. Yeah, so you can imagine if you had a situation where the drains get blocked, then that's where the flooding is going to be.